Welcome everybody. My name is Tim Sandy. I'm a VMware Systems Engineer. And in this session, I'm going to do a Workspace ONE overview, but I'm going to be doing it at a 201 technical sales level. So starting off, what is Workspace ONE? Again, keep in mind that during this session, I'm going to assume that you already have a Sales 101 base knowledge of what Workspace is, what it does, what are the components. So I'm going to do a very brief overview with the first couple set of slides, and then after that, we're going to go into a little bit more technical detail on Workspace ONE. So starting off again, what is Workspace ONE and what does it consist of? So as you see here on the left-hand side, it consists of Identity Manager, AirWatch, and as well as the Workspace ONE app, and it also has Horizon in it as well. But then we've done a bunch of integration code to it, and as you see on the right side here, here's a list of bullets that what each one of these do within the Workspace ONE solution set. So again, this is just a quick overview in these first set of slides. So Workspace ONE has a lot of different features to it. As you see here, they're kind of broken down into main categories or areas. So starting off, the first one we're going to cover is basically choosing your device, the various different device. So let's get started with that. So Workspace ONE has a native app for iOS, Android, as well as Windows 10. The app can be accessed from any HTML5 compatible browser. It has a PIN and Touch ID for Apple devices, which provides protected app access for that soft multi-factor authentication. So if you got the iPhone or an iPad that has the fingerprint Touch ID on it, you can use that, which will provide, again, an extra layer of authentication and security for accessing your network and your apps. Again, a system level PIN will be needed for when it's used with Windows 10, and then an app level PIN for Android devices. The Workspace ONE app can be deployed in several different ways. The first is kind of the manual install directly from the store. The second is to enroll manually through the AirWatch store. And then the third is to install automatically through the app payload installation of AirWatch. So as you add your AirWatch device to AirWatch, it will automatically authenticate you and add that device in that fashion. So for the second set of features, we have the self-service access. So we're going to cover those features now. Again, Workspace ONE provides a unified app catalog for just about any type of application, such as internal web apps, SaaS-based applications, internal and public-based mobile apps, modern and legacy Windows apps, as well as your your virtual desktops, such as your Horizon View desktops. So from within that app catalog, the user will have access to any and all of those different types of applications, as well as any virtual desktops if, again, Horizon View is configured within the Workspace environment to where whatever they're entitled to by policies, they will have access to all that within this application catalog. The Unified App Catalog integrates all apps from the Identity Manager or IDM catalog. So Identity Manager, I'm just going to call that IDM for short throughout this presentation. Now the Workspace ONE app shows the IDM apps in the Launcher tab and all of the published apps in the Catalog tab within that Workspace ONE interface. When using the browser, though, it does show all the IDM-based apps only. So just wanted to point that out so that there's no misunderstandings about that as to why you may not be seeing some of those other apps if you're going through the browser. Workspace ONE provides a self-service access or a true mobile single sign-on or SSO for your users. It uses a secure app token system to allow the users to access their apps on the device without the need to log in several times when using various different apps. So from, again, their phone, once they've initially signed on, whether it be, again, say if you're using an iPhone, you're using that Touch ID with your thumbprint, once you've done that and it's authenticated you, and being that device is already authenticated, you can then launch those apps from within that unified catalog and be able to launch all those applications without the need to be able to log in several times for each different type of app. So this is the case, again, no matter if the apps are on the internal corporate network or even if maybe they're SaaS-based apps in the cloud. So if you're using a SaaS-based cloud app that's companies providing that application, or whether your corporate network is extended out to their own personal cloud-based environment where their apps are residing, it doesn't matter whether it's internal or external. You'll get access to those without having to authenticate again. The benefits of this mobile SSO are that it's no longer need to implement both an IDM and AirWatch connector to sync, authenticate, and provide app access to the users. To integrate with the newer versions of IDM and AirWatch, you only need to implement the AirWatch Cloud connector for directory sync and authentication. The mobile SSO also removes the need for an internal certificate authority integration. So again, from an IT perspective, as far as implementing, deploying, and managing, it makes their job much easier. There's less to manage, less to integrate. Again, just saves time, money, and effort for the IT department as well as the business. The benefits of this mobile SSO are that it's no longer a need to implement, again, both of those AirWatch components. So now let's discuss one of the feature sets specifically around secure email, chat, and other types of content sharing within your organization in regards to Workspace ONE. Integrating email, chat, and content is easier than ever with Workspace ONE. Users can securely access their company email. They can click on links within that email and connect to a web page that link is redirecting them to while remaining within a secure connection, as well as they can access shared content with coworkers without IT worrying about information being shared with unauthorized personnel. So again, the whole time while they're working within all of these different applications such as email, browser, content sharing applications such as Content Locker, they can all do this very securely, knowing that the information is only going to be presented to them if they are authorized to be able to get access to that, and all the communication is secure. Workspace ONE provides anytime, anywhere access to all the various app types. It integrates with over 30 content repositories and content management systems such as SharePoint, Box, Dropbox, OneDrive, and many more. It also provides enterprise-grade security using AES 256-bit encryption, which also makes it FIPS 140-2 compliant. So a lot of your government agencies or maybe healthcare are needing that type of encryption to make sure that they meet the FIPS compliant. And it also provides IT with dashboards and reporting to better manage it all. So again, making the job of IT much simpler while also being able to effectively manage it and monitor the environment. To make IT's job easier to securely manage the environment, it also has the ability to provide account provisioning. And it does this by provisioning them automatically based on security policies, as well as prevent unauthorized users from gaining email access. Authentication is accomplished using multiple levels of authentication, such as username and password, digital certificates. Don't forget, I talked about the Touch ID on your Apple devices. And again, it uses the AES 256-bit encryption at rest, so you have that very secure environment and information. Additional capabilities are the ability to disable copy and paste functionality, prevent forwarding of emails, configure various attachment restrictions, prevent HTML content, required hyperlinks to only open in a secure AirWatch browser and not, say, the default non-secure type browsers that may be on that mobile device, as well as restrict access by disabling the use of non-compliant devices. So if there's a particular type of device that the corporation wants to say that and create a policy that says this type of device we cannot allow access to any of our resources or the network, or maybe only certain ones because they can't secure that device in the manner in which they wish, you can be very specific about saying that these devices are non-compliant, so you can restrict the access accordingly. So now let's talk about the conditional access portion of Workspace ONE. Again, this is getting into kind of what I was just talking about, but in a little more detail. Workspace ONE provides policy-based conditional access, and this generally means that we can restrict access based off of several factors. These can be what kind of device they're using from, like I was just saying, who the user is specifically, where are they connecting from, such as are they connecting from the internal network or are they connecting from an unsecure network such as a coffee shop. We can also restrict which apps they have access based off of all of the previous mentioned factors. So again, you can be very selective in what they have access to, if they have access to, from what devices, and where from. As a part of the Identity Manager policy-based access capabilities, we can get very granular in how we configure our policies. The policies can be configured by network segment, by the device platform, and app-specific criteria for authentication. You can also provide authentication chaining and with multiple policies to get the granularity that you may really need. So this granularity gives you the ability to require more rigorous requirements for users accessing your internal data via, say, external networks, such as the coffee shop I mentioned earlier. So with these policies, you can get very specific. You can require maybe dual level authentication for external networks, whereas on the internal, you only do that single authentication. Again, you can get very specific to make sure that when people are, or those users are connecting from unsecure networks, that you can require that extra bit of security to make sure that your environment stays secure. With the AirWatch integration and its device compliance policies, it provides IT with notifications, email blocking, remediation, and escalation for devices that are not compliant. So these policies are oriented toward the device's criteria, such as encryption or passcode requirements, also jailbroken or rooted devices. Today's environment, many phones are jailbroken. When you have these type of devices, and if you're allowing your end users to bring their own device, these jailbroken and rooted devices, they tend to open up more security concerns because they're not locked down appropriately. Previously, both IDM and AirWatch provided conditional access, but were not integrated together and were separate policies for each solution, so it wasn't integrated so nicely, and it was a little more cumbersome, and trying to manage double the set of policies across them and to get them to work together was much more difficult. So with Workspace ONE, it integrates the policies between the two solutions, making management easier and more effectively ensure policies are enforced, limiting issues with your overall network security. So again, because of this integration, these policies work together and in unison, making it much easier for the IT administrators to create less policies while also making sure that you're enforcing the policies that to keep that network secure. The last feature set we're going to discuss is related to scalable automation. In the past, with Windows PC management, we had a few methods of deploying apps and operating systems. First, there was the wipe and load method, which was the traditional method. And essentially, it was a very painfully slow process. I mean, you had to capture all the data in the settings. You had to deploy your custom OS image. You had to inject the drivers, install the apps, and then restore all that data and settings on top of it. So it was very cumbersome. Several steps to it, took a long time to do. Definitely not the optimal method of doing it. The second, we had the in-place method, which was a little quicker and easier, and it let Windows do a little more of the work for you. So Windows would preserve the data, the settings, the apps, the drivers. It would then install the OS image, and then it would restore everything. So this is a little bit quicker and easier method, less manual work required for IT to do that. But now this third and new way of managing Windows PC is with more of a provisioning method. Now this is just like we talk about when we talk about our solution sets such as thin app or app volumes, where we're provisioning applications, and it's a much better way of managing and provisioning applications. But this method now transforms it into more of like an enterprise device. So it makes deployment and management much easier and quicker to update and roll out to the network, such as application updates or OS updates. This new method of provisioning and managing the Windows PCs and apps provide capabilities such as remote delivery of apps, files, installation of drivers, and remote scripts. The control install based on certain conditions, the network they are on, as well as to be able to deploy an enterprise app catalog. So this new provisioning method of managing Windows PCs and apps provides capabilities such as remote delivery of apps, files, installation of drivers, and remote scripts. Control install based on certain conditions, the network they are on maybe, as well as deploy an enterprise app catalog. Although we have these capabilities, it is not meant to fully replace any traditional Windows management platforms such as Microsoft's SCCM or LANDesk and other type solutions like that. It is intended more for your BYOD scenarios and non-corporate image PCs. So currently there are limited management capabilities for Windows 7 as well. So keep in mind this does very much help improve the management of your Windows devices as well, but is not meant to be a total solution replacement for your platform, your management platform such as SCCM. So just wanted to put that out there. To assist in making sure your Windows devices are secure and have not been compromised, we also check the compliance status of key features such as the secure boot status, the data execution prevention status, BitLocker encryption status, anti-malware protection at boot time, as well as the rootkit detection. So we're also able to automate the delivery and enrollment through AirWatch to assist the staging and provisioning process of Windows 10. It does leverage the Microsoft Windows Imaging and Configuration Designer, or the WICD, to build the package and to deploy corporate image to a personal PC. It comes to managing the Windows 10 operating system on devices, it is geared a little bit more towards being able to deploy a corporate image out to, say, a personal device and such. It is, again, not meant to be able to fully replace a program like Microsoft SCCM. So that completes my overview of Workspace 1 from a more 201 technical sales level in comparison to the other video, which is again more at the 101 sales level. I hope this information was useful to you in regards to Workspace 1 and give you a little bit deeper insight into the capabilities, what Workspace 1 can do for you as far as your devices and applications. So that completes today's session. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope the information I presented to you in this presentation was useful, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you and have a wonderful day.